I'm sitting now with the filmmaker Doug Sroka for the film Forgiveness in F minor. Welcome to the Independent Canadian Film Festival.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I want to start with your background because I do believe that backgrounds for filmmakers is very important. It shapes the way we tell stories. It shapes everything we want to say sometimes. So I know that you somehow come from psychology. Tell me more about how psychology make you develop characters and develop stories you want to tell.
Yeah. So my interest in psychology was always very much based on like figuring out why people behave the way they do, or how different things kind of affect how people react to things or behave. And then when I made the transition to acting and eventually directing, it was during COVID, so I had done my first university, and then I made the switch to go to Toronto. And I think that's when I'm writing things. That's definitely where my first kind of avenue in is analyzing what could have happened to this person to cause them to act that way, and different ways that events can kind of trigger someone. Even in this film, the inciting incident isn't even revealed until quite far into the film. So very much in order for the audience to get on board with what's happening in the film, you're just focusing on the reaction or the consequences of who this character has become now. So you don't really even figure out what has happened until going into the end of the film. So yeah, it's very much just figuring out how that influences someone, and then how that kind of goes into how that affects them in other situations too.
How much can we start from a feeling to tell a story, in your opinion? Because you talked about what happened with characters and the past experiences just now. So let's talk a bit more about the feelings of the character. How do they draw your storytelling?
Yeah. It's not I don't necessarily set out writing being I want them to feel this here, them to feel this here. It's a lot more of I'm interested in especially protagonists that have are rounded in a way that maybe they make bad decisions or they react maybe poorly to things, and really amplifying how they feel about a situation. I think that's more the into it, as opposed to trying to go for a specific feeling, just emphasizing how that character's feeling in that spot, and then just going from there and seeing what decisions they make, where that kind of takes them.
Through your title, when I saw the title without even seeing the film first, Forgiveness in F minor, I told myself he's linked to music somehow. He knows music.
Yeah.
And then you told me you're a pianist. So a pianist with a background in psychology, who wrote his first film, funded his first film. Well, that's an interesting background of an artist. Tell me more about because you funded your film, right? So sometimes funds stops creativity. And sometimes creativity is very open and we don't have enough funds for it. So tell me more about those choices you made, choices that had to, if you're comfortable sharing, choices that had to be related to money or to cut out creativity perhaps. Tell me more.
Yeah. I think that's something that independent filmmakers have to deal with across the board is budgeting and finances. Our budget definitely kind of grew throughout the production. We were very fortunate to receive a really good grant through Panavision, but that also came with having to increase our budget in other areas to accommodate. And as far as script stuff, right up until production, basically we were making cuts based on budget. Originally we were supposed to have more than just the one child actor. There's supposed to be a lot more flashback stuff, and then children are very expensive to cast in a film. And yeah, the more I just had to make more creative decisions on figuring out what was necessary for the storytelling, and figuring out how to do that in a more financially reasonable way. Like the one flashback scene where the dad's playing the piano. It's like a really short, quick scene. And originally I had written this whole scene that had a child actor, and it was a mirrored moment of like the dynamics of the brothers, and how the piano playing was used in their childhood. And then when we were like, well, we can't afford to have 2 more child actors on set, we just had to come up with the decision to use the door framing in the shot, so that it felt like the camera, or as the audience, that you were the person opening the door, as opposed to seeing it. So things like that, just that in the end it's such a small moment, so you really have to be considerate of like, is this worth paying so much more for such a small moment, or can you accomplish that in a more creative way? And I think it challenges you to, maybe not do something that's as straightforward and easy, because you can't afford it, so you have to come up with some more creative solutions.
Well, that's an interesting learning process you did, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm very tempted to talk more about your background as an artist, but because of the limit of time, I really want to talk about what's your future projects. Tell me more about them.
Yeah, I mean, I love writing, so I have a lot of scripts. There's a few different short films that I have ready, but I spent last year writing a feature script that I very much am passionate about and very much want to get off the ground. It's something that I'd like to use to go after like telefilm, like talent to watch funding, and apply through that. It's a road trip comedic drama about, essentially it's like a late coming of age, 30 years old, and realizing that you have been too focused on making the perfect decisions that you haven't really been listening to yourself, and how that all of a sudden at 30 just kind of slaps you in the face, and you have to reassess a little bit. So just trying to find a producer and funding to go through. I mean, I did film school, but it wasn't like I did acting in film school, so I wasn't, as far as like grant and finances and producing and stuff like that, it's definitely less my wheelhouse. I'm more the like acting, directing, writing stuff. So trying to find someone to come on board and kind of develop that working relationship and secure some money, because it's very, very, very expensive to make films.
Well, let's hope if someone is listening to this interview and they reach out to you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you.
We're really happy to have you here in Montreal in the Canadian Independent Film Festival. It was very lovely to see your film, and we want to see more of your art.
Oh, thank you. I'm really grateful that my film was selected and that I was able to come see it in person. And I'm really, the festival has been a really good experience so far. All the workers and everyone it feels very like people have watched the film and they're putting a lot of time and energy into it, and even stuff like doing interviews and stuff like this, it really makes it feel like time has been spent. It feels really nice.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and most welcome.
Thanks so much.